Chapter 53. Back in the art and artifacts room, Kyle felt confident that they were pretty close to figuring out, well, whatever it was that they were supposed to figure out. How it would help them escape from the library was still anybody's guess. It's 10:44, said Akemi. The last clue should pop up on the Wonder Dorm in 16 minutes. Okay, you guys, said Kyle. Spread out. We need a new rhyme for Andy. This model of the bank building came in handy, added Miguel. The Dandy Bandits? Shouted Akemi, once again studying the display of hats. Yes, said Haley, pulling off her shoes so she could show everybody her clue card. Bandits. Bandits. I found this in the 300s room. That's the room clue we're waiting for, said Kyle. Because the Dewey Decimal number for the true crime books always starts with the number 3, said Miguel. When we find that book, it'll tell us how and where the bandits crawled in 1968. Listen to this, you guys, said Akemi. She read a placard in the display case. This plaid fedora from 1968 was worn by a bank robber, Leopold Labali, one of the notorious Dandy Bandits. Loblolly, Miguel shouted. The smell-o-vision clue, said Kyle. That's why everything kept smelling like pine trees. Loblolly was one of the pine trees in the answer Mr. Lemoncello gave you guys, said Haley. Whoop, 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 said Mr. Lemoncello, as Banana Shoes squeaking, he stepped into the room. Well done, Miss Daly and Miss Hughes. See, said Akemi, I was right the first time we came in here. I said dandy, and everybody else said, no, candy. Willy Wonka. Yes, it's all coming back to me, said Mr. Lemoncello. 1968. I was pondering an idea for a game at the old public library. And, said Kyle, you were so totally focused you didn't hear the police siren screaming past the library as they raced to the Goldley Bank? The Blackbird was from Alexandriaville, said Sierra. The police siren wail was from that day. Miguel finished that thought. When the Dandy Bandits tried to crawl into the bank. My goodness, said Mr. Lemoncello. How could you kids know all of that? From the game clues, said Kyle, and from the story Dr. Z told us on Friday night when somebody asked her why a library building needed a bank vault door. She was already feeding us clues, said Akemi. The time is now 11 a.m., announced the ceiling lady. The game will end in 1 hour. Come on, said Kyle, heading for the door. It's the 11th hour. We need to go check out the Wonder Dome again. They raced to the balcony. There it is, said Sierra. 364.1092, shouted Miguel. Woohoo, said Akemi. We're gonna win. Chapter 54. On the first floor, Charles was at long last video chatting with his uncle James Willoughby III, the Librarian of Congress, who had finally shown up for the Ask an Expert call. Sorry for the delay, Charles. That's okay, Uncle Jimmy, Charles said, straining to smile and not scream. The time is now 11 a.m., announced the annoyingly placid lady on the ceiling. This game will end in 1 hour. Charles had to hustle. Sir, I know you are very important, very busy man, so I just have one quick question. If I were a book on true crimes in the state of Ohio, where would you shelve me? The Library of Congress is classification. No, sir. Dewey Decimal? Ah, easy. 364.1. What comes after the 1 will depend, of course, on how many books a library, Charles didn't stick around to hear the rest of the uncle's answer. He took off running for the closest spiral staircase up to the second floor. As he ascended the steps, two at a time, he saw Kyle Keeley and his entire entourage running down the staircase from the third floor. Charles reached the second floor balcony first. He darted around the bend, past the door to the 500s room, the 400s. Keeley and his crew were coming from the opposite direction, but Charles reached the door to the 300s room before them. He swiped his library card, yanked on the handle, and dashed into the room. He scanned the shelves and headed to his right. He heard Keeley enter the room. Glancing over his shoulder, Charles saw Keeley go left. Charles dashed up and down the aisles between bookcases. He read the number at the end of each row of the shelves. 310, 320, 330. One of those robots with the book baskets came rumbling across his path, but Charles was able to dodge it. 340, 350. Keeley's footsteps pounded up the passageway on the other side of the shelving units to his left. In the middle of the 300s room, they entered an open space with a judge's bench and witness box. Charles was getting closer to the true crime section, but so was Kyle. Charles saw Keeley read something off his palm. He had the whole call number. It was time to change tactics. Charles hung back and let Keeley take the lead. Kyle rushed towards a bookcase. Charles sprinted after him. "Got it!" Kyle shouted as he reached for the book on the shelf. But before he could completely pull it out, Charles grabbed a hold of the book too. They both yanked it off the shelves. Kyle had the spine. Charles had a hold of the top. They tugged it back and forth. While they wrestled with the book, Kyle's teammates caught up to them. "Careful, Kyle," cried Sierra Russell. "Don't hurt the book." Charles grinned. Keeley, the sentimental sap, was listening to the silly, bookish girl and easing up on his grip, giving Charles his chance. He body-checked Keeley, slammed into him with his shoulder, sent him flying, the book tumbling. Charles snatched it off the floor. He had the book. He quickly flipped through the table of contents, saw Chapter 11 was about a robbery at the Gold Leaf Bank in Alexandriaville. He knew he won the game. Charles used his free hand to slap an L on his forehead. "Loser!" he sneered at Keeley. A tiger roared, a whistle blew, and Mr. Lemoncello entered the room, accompanied by Clarence, Clement, and the looked like a rare Bengal tiger. "Mr. Chitlington!" Charles smiled. He knew Mr. Lemoncello was about to congratulate him for defying the odds and winning the game. He had single-handedly defeated Kylie Keeley's entire team. "Yes, sir, Mr. Lemoncello. Do you remember Dr. Z's #1 rule?" "You bet, sir. No food or drink except in the Book Nook Cafe." "No," said Mr. Lemoncello, touching the tip of his nose and making a buzzard sound. Bzzz. "Dr. Z, tell him what he should have said." Dr. Z's voice purred out of the ceiling, speakers. "Be gentle with each other and most especially the library books and exhibits." "I know," said Charles. "That's why I had to stop Kyle Keeley. He was ready to rip the cover off this poor book. Heck, sir, everybody at school knows that Kyle Keeley is a maniac. He'll do anything to win a game." Mr. Lemoncello turned to Keeley. "Is that true, Kyle? Would you actually destroy property if it took between you and your prize?" "Well, sir," Keeley was stammering. The fool didn't know how to lie. Charles quickly opened the book to Chapter 11 and slipped in his library card to bookmark the location. "You should ask Keeley about the window he broke, sir." Mr. Lemoncello turned to face Charles again. "The window?" "Yes, sir. The whole school heard about it. See, Kyle Keeley and his two brothers were playing some sort of wild scavenger hunt game, and—" Mr. Lemoncello pointed at the book. "That's clever. You use your library card as a bookmark." "Yes, sir, I sure do," said Charles, turning on the charm. "Of course I can't take full credit for such a clever idea. On Friday night I saw Sierra Russell doing it, and—" "You told Andrew Peckelman to borrow her card." Charles blinked. several times. I beg your pardon? You broke Dr. Z's number one rule. You were not gentle with your teammate Andrew. In fact, you bullied him into stealing Miss Russell's library card, which you knew she already used as a bookmark. No, sir, I did not. Yes, Charles, you did. Mr. Lemoncello touched his right ear. In fact, Dr. Z has spent the past few hours combing through security tapes, and guess what she just found? Charles heard his own voice ringing out of the ceiling speakers. Have you noticed what Sierra Russell uses for a bookmark? No. That was Andrew, said Mr. Lemoncello. This is you again. Her library card, which, of course, doubles as a key card for meeting room B. Find a way to borrow it. You told Andrew to steal Sierra's library card. How could you record that? Said Charles. I was whispering. And I have very good microphones. You're done, Charles. Dr. Z, tell your departing guest what he has just won. Absolutely nothing, said the voice of the Russian librarian. But please, Mr. L., tell Charles the correct answer to the final pictograph. Ah, yes. Mr. Lemoncello reached into his back pocket, pulled out a 4x4 card, and showed it to Charles. Charles stood there fuming. Anyone care to help Charles out? Said Kyle. Is it 6 eat? You are very close, said Mr. Lemoncello. There was a pause, and then Haley laughed. Did it come after the football player? Yeah, said Charles. So? Andrew was right all along, said Haley. The football player clue wasn't past, it was 19. Mr. Lemoncello shifted into his game show voice. So, Haley Daly, would you care to solve the puzzle? Sure. You can walk out the way bandits crawled in 1968. I don't get it, said Charles. 1968, said Akemi. You know, 1968. Ah, yes, said Mr. Lemoncello. The year from the mixed-up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankenweiler, won on the Newby Medal for Excellence in Children Literature. Another clue you completely missed, Charles. Wow, said Miguel, and I thought Chitlingtons never lose. There's a first time for everything, said Mr. Lemoncello. Clarence, Clement, kindly escort young Mr. Chitlington from the building. Bye-bye, said Akemi. There goes this game, biggest loser. So Charles just got kicked out. So now we only have Kyle's team left. I hope they can find the clues and make it out in time. We'll have to find out tomorrow.